Thanks for listening to the Brian Brawdy Show. It's time to mortal up.
How gullible are we? Lowlife's making headlines. We're going to jump right to that here in just a bit. It's Brian. I'm back with you. And I just want to take a moment before we get into it because there's a lot to discuss tonight. But I wanted to thank the people that have been sending in the quotes as we get ready to ramp all this back up. Liberty's line in the sand. I like that one. Cancel culture's worst nightmare. Well, thank you very much. A counterpunch to political correctness. That's got to be one of my favorites, I'll tell you. The Reckoning. Whoa, there you go. The Reckoning. I also like Liberty's line in the sand. I got to be honest with you. There's nothing wrong with that. Good evening and welcome. I believe it's Wednesday evening, and we're looking forward to talking tonight about the question, just how gullible do they think we are? Just how, really think about it. Now, there's all kinds of things we want to get to, but I just got a text a little while ago. And don't forget, you can text us here at the show all the time. Give us a tweet, comment over in Facebook if you are so inclined. You can give us a text as well and let us know what you're thinking about. We would love to include you in the show. So what we've got going on right now is I just received a text that said, everyone's worried about being called a racist. Everyone's worried about being just maligned by other people. And I thought, well, here's how I handle it. Someone said, well, how do you handle it? Let me just do this real quick. No show. Bah. So people say, how is it that you've become so cavalier about it? Why is it that you go, okay, great. Why, you allow people to say pretty much whatever they want, and you're good with it. Can I tell you why? Can I be absolutely honest with you? Why that is? Because, I just don't give a crap. I don't care about what other people think about my opinion. I don't care what other people think about what I say I guess to a certain degree, I got to care about my family. I got to show a little bit of interest, in what's going on for other people, my close-in circle. But other than that, I really don't care. Got to tell you, couldn't care less. And that's how I beat it. That's how I'm to the point where people go, well, you're a this, well, you're a that, well, I'm upset, well, I'm all these other things. But I don't care. Doesn't matter to me. So for me, look at that. All right. Hey, well, here's what we'll do. Wayne. So, Wayne, if you can hear me, apparently we're going out on Avidly U. We're not going out on the Brian Brawdy page. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to keep the radio show going while we recalibrate where it is that we're broadcasting the video feed to, but I love it. I got to tell you, I like being radio anyways. So I would imagine before too long, if you're waiting for us on Facebook, that's going to pop up. But we're very excited to go back to how we did in the very beginning radio. So now I can clear my mind. I can get all that. I just put it out of my mind. So here was the text that I got a little bit earlier. How do you do it? How do you not worry? And I thought, well, golly, that's kind of simple. I just don't worry. I don't care about another person's opinion, right? So I try not to be offensive. Well, that's not even true. Here, can I tell you what's happened? Can I tell you what I've developed of late? I've gotten to the point where I don't mind terribly offending people because it's a workout. It's a way for them to go, all right, a minute, now let's just hold on a second. What is it I'm actually offended about? How is it that I'm allowing his opinion, his thoughts, his words to get in and terrorize me? How is that happening? So then I said, okay, great. Well, here's what we'll do. We'll just have it so I'll just like a little bit like everyone's looking for what is it called for the virus, a shot, right? What is it called? You get a vaccine. Well, a vaccine is a little bit of the crappy stuff, and it allows your body to kind of learn how to deal with the crappy stuff, right? And then you come back and you're even stronger and better than before because you've gotten a little shot of this crappy stuff. Your body rushes in, makes it all happen. And then you get to the point where you go, well, that was pretty cool. Now your body's able to handle it. So what if with all these nice things, the Human Mind's Mandalorian, the Backlash, all the different titles that we get of people calling in, what if we say, oh, then how about a little bit of a mental vaccine? How about we let people say whatever they want, do whatever they want, try to offend us in any way that they can, and then we let little bits of it in, and after that happens, we progressively adapt. We progressively adapt to what it is we're up to, right? We progressively adapt so that we go, oh, this is great. I don't mind this. I don't mind this at all. And then every day you take in a little more crap. You allow people to say a little bit more. You allow your body to kind of deal with what's going on, and that's what we do. And that's how I've learned how to do it. It's just, especially starting off all those years ago, golly, 30, maybe 40 years ago now, 40 years ago as a police officer in New York, you get to the point where you got to learn to take people's crap. You just can't get upset every time somebody says something or calls you a name, every time somebody gives you the finger, every time somebody cuts you off, every time, right? Every time you have something coming in that isn't exactly what you want, then you go, well, I better deal with it now, I guess. So that might be a way of saying to yourself, okay, great. Here's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to make certain that here, look at just all this, everything is jumping around on the board here. So maybe that's what you and I can do, is that, one, we can just say, I don't give a crap about what other people think. I really don't care. I will continue to inhale. I'll continue to eat. I'll continue to have my day, and I'm not going to let you get in and ruin my day with your opinion about what you think I'm capable of. Just not going to happen. Right? Just not going to happen. So there's a little bit of that involved. Because you get to the point then where you go, yeah, no matter what they say, it just doesn't get to me. So then that might feed in a little bit to some of the question that I was asked just before we came on air in terms of how do you deal with it? You deal with it. You deal with it in little micro shots. You deal with it in just in little pieces so that at the end of the day you go, I'm a lot better at grabbing that than I thought it was. Good. This is great. Now I don't even have to pay attention to any of the questions. I don't have to watch the video. I can just go straight ahead and do the radio. So thank you very much for that. All right. So before we jump in today, I want to get Wayne in here in a little bit, and we want to talk about last night's poll because I was shocked by this. Just the percentages. When we talked about our as America's future on the ropes, you're going to be surprised at what the percentages were in this poll. Just plain and simple, you're going to be surprised. So what we're going to do is we'll get to that here in just a little bit. Then at the bottom of the hour, we'll be taking your calls at 7:35. We'll be taking your calls, and you can give us an idea, and we'll go back talking about today's poll. You ever been gaslighted? Talking about someone telling you something that isn't necessarily true. Talk about someone telling you something just so they can get you to play it their way. You ever been the victim of gaslighting? Ever been? Evidently you to Mortal Up page. It's not working. If that's what we did, it's most certainly not working. So at least it's not coming up on the Mortal Up page here. So we'll just do it this way. All right. So have you ever been the victim of gaslighting? Have you ever gotten to the point where you just say, yeah, you know what? My gut's telling me that's not true. That's not the real thing. I just don't have a good feeling as to that's what's going on. But the people around you going, oh no, that's it. You don't want to mess with that. That's absolutely true. So has that ever happened to you? That's what we're going to be talking about tonight in our segment about lowlifes making headlines, because it's going on everywhere. Kind of like if you believe, oh, well, the FBI team and Mr. Mueller went ahead and everyone's phones got wiped. And you go, you and I are supposed to believe that? Everyone's phones. This is the FBI. This is a team full of top-notch attorneys. And if top-notch attorneys in this country are wiping it's all by accident. We don't know how it happened. Sure you do. And these are the people that we trust. So we'll get to that here in just a little bit. Don't forget, you can head on over to mortalup.com for the poll. We've got a new one up tonight, but let's see if we can bring Wayne in. Wayne, are you with us? Give us an idea of what happened in last night's poll, and then again, what we're doing with tonight's poll. Wayne, you there?
I sure am. Okay.
All right.
And last night's poll is America's future on the ropes. The results came in 89% yes and 11% no.
Wow. 89%. That's kind of that's a little more than I thought it would have been for certain.
Yes.
All right, so 89% said yes, which kind of leads to this whole thing about gaslighting and rope-a-dope and wondering just how gullible they think we truly are. So Wayne, while I have you, what's our poll for tonight? What's up there today so that we can announce tomorrow night the results of this poll? What's the one going on now?
Okay, the poll for tonight and tomorrow morning is, have you ever been a victim of gaslighting?
Oh, we're talking about that. That's good timing on your part, Wayne. Thank you very much. Have you ever been a victim of gaslighting?
And everybody can get to that poll by going to mortalup.com.
Okay, great.
On the front page is where the poll is.
Oh, fantastic. So go to mortalup.com. You can, one, I would love it if you say if you've ever been a victim of gaslighting, if you know you have been, vote either yes or no. But then also when we open the phones at the bottom of the hour, we can say, hey, look, give us a call. Let us know exactly how it happened to you. But I think for me, Wayne, you look at a lot of the stuff going on in the media, and I got in a little bit of hot water with some people over on Facebook today and Twitter. But whenever you get into a fight on Spitter, it's almost not even worth mentioning it anymore, right? Because every day's a fight on Spitter. So you just go and you go, let the inmates carry on, let the juveniles rant and rave, right? Everyone wants likes. Everyone wants more people. Everyone wants to feel like they're smart. So they just go to Twitter and they unload. And here's one of them. Can I give you one of my favorites? And it's a very horrible thing to have happened, but the two deputies that were shot in Los Angeles, I believe it was in Compton. Well, if you look at the video, they were shot with a handgun. But now you got politicians, these professional scapegoaters, right? These professional gaslighters. You got politicians all over the country, including the head of the top of one of the tickets going, this just shows we need a ban on assault weapons. Now, Wayne, have you seen the video of the shooting in Compton?
No, I haven't looked at that video yet.
Yeah, it's just a video. The guy's using a handgun.
Yeah.
So help me, Wayne. You're a voice of reason most times whenever we have our discussions. What the hell is getting shot with a handgun have to do with banning assault weapons?
Nada.
Oh, so in other words, you're saying it has the same thing to do when you say you're a part of the Harris-Biden ticket.
Yeah, same.
As opposed to the name of the real ticket. That's what I'm talking about, right? And most certainly over on Facebook, however you get there, wherever you are, have you noticed, Wayne, that you can't have a conversation without someone inserting politics, no matter what? No matter what. Hey, it's sunny here today in Ohio. Oh, yeah, well, Trump has orange hair. Hey, we're supposed to get rain a little bit later. Oh, well, Biden's senile. So maybe a better thing to do to put on top of our Facebook page, Wayne, would be to say, like we talk about the chicken wing sauce. Left wing, right wing, no matter what, you still got a chicken underneath it. Mm-hmm. I couldn't care less of who you want to put into power to be your king. I really couldn't, right? You got these people, you can't say anything without them going, well, Biden did this or Trump did that. Well, I just don't care. I couldn't care less in terms of how that
wants to offend somebody.
Well, that takes us back to what we were talking to earlier before you jumped in. Then I say, let's offend people. Because if you take time to realize what offending really is, it's an opportunity for you to go, I'll take a little bit of this vaccine in, I'll take a little bit of this vitriol in, and I'll work on developing a pretty thick skin. People say all the time, how do these cops stand there in line with rioters and protesters screaming and hollering and saying all these things? Because they developed the ability to hold, and not just cops, but there's all kinds of people out there that have developed the ability to hold themselves in check so that they don't let your words pierce like an arrow. Shakespeare's slings and arrows. I think we talked about that in the beginning of the week, right? So it works out perfect if you let little bits of it in, like a vaccine, Wayne. You let a little bit of it in, and then you go, okay, great. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take baby steps, to quote Bill Murray in What About Bob was his name. Richard Dreyfuss was the psychiatrist, I believe, in that movie, and he wrote a book called Baby Steps. Well, that's the thing about offending other people. No charge. It's free. You can send all the thank yous to, what is it? info@brianbrody.associates. Please feel free. Send all the gratitude, all the letters of thankfulness. You can genuflect. Maybe take a selfie of you genuflecting or a video and just send it to me. Thank you so very much for helping us get through this being overly sensitive. But I think, Wayne, we treat it like a vaccine, where you let little bits of it in every day, and at the end of the day, you're a lot tougher. Your skin is a lot thicker. You're not as perforated as you were the morning before. And honest to goodness, someone on Facebook just said, well, what if someone calls you a name? Who cares? The last thing I care. People said to me today, oh, I'm so offended. Couldn't care less. Couldn't care less. And I think if we had more of that, we'd actually get along a little better. And it's funny, we mentioned last night, I know my friend Mark, I know my friend Pradeep, a couple other people were talking about, what's that show on Netflix? Social breakdown, social mania, something about, we talked about this last night, Wayne, how social media platforms are designed, the artificial intelligence in these platforms are designed to keep you fighting, to keep you at each other's necks, to keep you at each other's throats. We see it just in terms of some of the ads we run on Facebook. Well, that ad's been rejected. Oh, that one's been rejected. Well, why has it been rejected? Well, they're hateful words. I don't believe in hateful words anymore, Wayne. I got to tell you. I believe in hateful ears. I believe in ears that hear hateful things all the time. But I'm starting to the pendulum is swing back the other way for me. It's not so much hate speech as it is hate hearing. What do you think?
Yeah, we had that issue yesterday with Facebook, or the day before yesterday, where they rejected one of your ads because the graphic had the word war on it.
Which is hysterical, because we had that other graphic with the word, we wanted a war on toxic sensitivity, and I think it's up over 1,500? 1,500 likes and comments and shares and everything else. So you can't even count on that to be the case.
Well, when Facebook rejected it, I basically went back in and I said, please explain why.
Yeah.
That's
what we talked about last night with the mountain lions. You got to stand up to these grizzly bears with cubs.
And then they reversed it.
And then they reversed it. So thank you, Mug Pamphlet. Thank you very much. I super appreciate it. Super appreciate you coming to our rescue. All right, Wayne, I didn't get the feed over on Mortal Up, so apparently you're watching it over on Avidly You.
Nope.
You want to say hello?
I shared it over to Mortal Up.
Yeah, no, I'm not watching that. It's too crazy. It's hard enough for me to figure out what I'm doing here without. But in any event, over at Avidly You, who's in the feed? You want to say hello to some folks real quick while they're there?
Candace has been saying, she's been making some comments.
Hi, Candace.
She thought she was lost.
That's okay, Candace. I feel like that every day. Remember, you can't spell Brian without the I in imbecile. I know you think Joe Biden uses that line, but no, it's mine. Wish I had copyrighted that before this election. Who else we got over there? I see John. John, thank you very much. Nice of you to stop by. Who else, Wayne?
That's all I can see here.
That's all you can see. All right, cool. Well, it is 7:20, which means we're going to bump into the bottom of the hour pretty quick. So, Wayne, let's go ahead and run our 7:20 segment, and then we'll get right, because I'm fired up about this. This is absolutely great. Here we go. Lowlifes making headlines, or as we like to call it around here, brains that make your blood boil. Here's your brittle brain atop a balsa wood spine for today. All right, Wayne, here we go. I got in a little bit of hot water yesterday where I said I don't think anyone under the age of 25 should vote because your brain isn't even formed yet. So clearly I've not learned how to not run in the street with scissors, so we're going to do another thing tonight. I think there's a boomerang. I think there's a backlash. Thank you for that, for someone that says, called me the backlash. I think there's a reckoning coming. And I think the reckoning is that more and more people realize it's not toxic masculinity. I think more and more people are starting to realize that every so often there's nothing wrong with standing up, squaring your shoulders, looking fate in the face and go, let's just do it. You want a duel? You want a battle? You want to poke me in the chest? Here we go. And I think tonight's Low Life's making headlines are those people that are screaming, oh, that's misogynistic, that's sexist. Look at where masculinity has gotten us. Look at all these other things we have to do. And I got into a little bit of a debate about it with a family member the other day who said, well, you know, violence never solved anything. And I think that's a very admirable trait to have. Violence never solved anything. I think philosophically it's a cliche. You know, the pen is mightier than the sword. People believe that kind of thing. But I also think that we should admit that violence solves everything. Absolutely solves everything. All these nuts running around going, violence doesn't solve anything. Well, ask Abel how violence pretty much solved everything in Cain's mind. Oh, that's right. You can't, because Cain capped Abel. When you look at the different things that are going on, the greatest moments in human history have come when violence rose up in the moment. Now, I'm not advocating violence. What I'm advocating is don't be one of these people that runs around and throws out a cliche, go, oh, violence never solved anything. That is absolutely not true. That doesn't mean we always petition violence. That doesn't mean we always go in that direction. But to be dishonest and say violence doesn't solve anything, it's absolutely not true. Violence solved World War I. World War II. Violence solved the Civil War in our country. Violence solved the Revolutionary War. So people can run around. And I think the people, here's the lowlifes making headlines. The brittle brains atop balsa wood spines. The brains that make your blood boil. Here's the ones running around. And do you know why they run around and say the pen is mightier than the sword? Because they control the pen. They get to write. They get to browbeat you. They get to look down at their nose. They get to bludgeon you. They get to say to you, oh, you can't think that way. The people running around screaming the pen is mightier than the sword, they've cornered the market on pens. Right? And it doesn't have anything to do with a political party. There might be some Democrats that are listening to this that believe it, some Republicans, some Libertarians, some whoever. But sooner or later, human beings, right? You know how I talk all the time, Wayne, about, well, you know, everyone talks about the Second Amendment. I like to think of it as a retractable clause. You watch a video, my good friend Mike Morrow, any of the videos he has from his times in Africa, lions, they can play with their cubs. They're very affectionate. They play. But when it comes time to get to the business of being a lion, they take those retractable claws, they go ahead and extend them, and it's time to get the cocktail sauce, right? So all I'm suggesting is let's not say that human beings don't have retractable claws. Let's not say, right, that we don't have the ability at a particular time to rise up, square our shoulders, and go, no, we're not going to put up with this anymore. So our lowlifes making headlines for today are the ones running around going, oh, violence never solved anything. Yes, it did. Oh, the pen's mightier than the sword. Only if you're the one with the quill writing down your rules. So here's another thing. Oh, violence never solved anything. Great. Then why do we have police? Why do we have, okay, if violence never solved anything, Wayne, why is Nancy Pelosi, maybe Chuck Schumer, I don't know, definitely Hillary Clinton, running around going, well, if Trump doesn't leave the White House, we'll send the military in. Oh, so violence does solve something, right? If the election goes that way and President Trump decides, yeah, I think I'll hang out here in the Rose Garden a little longer. So what are you going to employ? You're going to employ violence. So all these people saying, oh, no, the pen is mightier than the sword, it's because they control the message. They control the messaging. And it never works out for the people that are subject to that messaging. Now, I'm not advocating violence. I'm not calling for an insurrection. I'm not calling for sedition. I'm simply saying that we have to watch at times the cliches we use because they're just not true. People might think, oh, well, it's been around forever. That it's normal doesn't make it natural. We'd be a totally different country if violence didn't solve something called the Civil War. Wayne, what say you? Volume up on the left. Little slider there on the board.
I sort of scratch my head when I hear some of these harebrained comments.
From both sides of the aisle, or all sides of the aisle, whatever it is, libertarians, all the rest of it, right? Like that.
Every single one of them.
Just think about what you're saying.
And every one of these things that come out of their mouths these days is harebrained.
Yeah, just for all of us.
Yeah.
You get to the point where you go, okay, wait a minute. What is going on? What is going on? Just think about what it is that you're going to say and stop trying to browbeat other people through your definition of what you think the truth or reality is. So for tonight's lowlifes making headlines, that's in fact it. It's those people that are wrapped in cliche. The hotheads, as I say all the time, wrapped in thin skin. And you can pick the cliche. There's other ones. I happened to talk about one last night about, certain people now want 17-year-olds to vote. Are you kidding me? 17-year-olds to vote.
San Francisco.
Well, is it San Francisco? Oh, that makes perfect sense to me now. Oh, well, the youth, they are the future of our democracy. Yet, no, they're not. Not now, they're not. Just another cliche that gets us in trouble. So, again, lowlife's making headlines tonight. I'm looking forward to the bottom of the hour, coming back in, taking your call. Tell me why I'm wrong. I would love to learn. That's the thing. I'd love for someone to say, well, Bri, you know what? Here's why you're wrong. So please, don't just call if you agree. Please call if you disagree. We'd like to have some debate because I'd rather have the debate go down here than have the battle go down on the streets. Right? I say all the time to my friends, I don't want, we tongue in cheek, we say the war on toxic sensitivity. All right? We're going to get to the point where there's a battle because people are too sensitive. Oh, he said some very nasty words. No, he didn't. You heard some nasty words. They have no ability to malign your sense of self without your permission. So all I'm suggesting is let's just stop giving them permission, right? Let's stop giving people permission to come inside of ourselves, right? Let their words in and their words interrupt our self-image. I'm not saying people go, oh, well, Brian's against learning. Brian's against critique. Brian's against all these other things. No, I'm not. I'm not talking about that at all, chucklehead. What I'm talking about is that we can develop thicker skin so that when the lowlifes making headlines want to slam us with all these titles, want to slam us with all the reasons they're triggered, slam us with all the reasons they're offended, you and I can go, there's a vaccine for that. I got it. Got to tell you, took a little bit of it yesterday, like a vitamin. I took a little bit of vitamin V for vitamin vitriol. Took a little vitamin V. Now I'm immune. I don't have to worry about it. Say what you like. You have a First Amendment right to say what you absolutely feel. I have also the same right to hear what I hear, and I think you're nuts. I think you're crazy. If you want to label another human being, just at least make sure they're... make sure the label is like I say to my kids all the time. Someone said something to me on the playground, and I go, great. If I said to you, you had long purple hair, would you believe me? And they usually laugh and smile and giggle, and they go, no, because I don't have purple hair. Okay, well, if you're not a racist, if you're not a bully, if you're not a misogynist, if you're not a sexist, if you're not, just apply the list of ists. If you're not homophobic, if you're not any of these things, then why does someone calling you one of those things? Now, let me ask you, someone says, oh, you've got the nose of an elephant. Unless you're Jimmy Durante, God rest his soul, unless you're the late Jimmy Durante, you don't have the nose of an elephant. Why would you let someone go, hey, elephant nose? Why would you let that in to bother you? It's crazy, I'm telling you. All right, we're going to run to the bottom of the hour. We will be right back. right, we're back. And let me start the bottom of the hour by saying thank you to everyone, all of our new friends over at Mortal Up on Facebook. Nice to have you on board. Thank you so very much for hanging out with us. We super appreciate it. Also, the new followers on Twitter, and also the people coming and signing up to the Mortal Up page. Most certainly our good friends over on our YouTube channels. Thank you for everyone that's decided just to jump on the bandwagon, right? Because here's the thing. We mean it when we say it, that we are going to stand in the way of anyone that stands in the way of you, that we need to all be on the same team. These are some crazy times. So when we are able to group together, able to give each other a little bit, my good friend Lee calls me the cognitive bodyguard. When we're able to band together and help each other, when we're able to join together, whether it's here on the show or any of the other things that we do in public, we're able to band together and go, yeah, we'll get through this craziness. It's not as bad as it seems. We're not as bad as it seems. I can't tell you the number of times I have people going, I'm just not as bad as everyone makes me out to be. I'm just not as evil as everyone. If you listen to social media, if you listen to, is it the social dilemma? If someone could let us know, give me a text, 833-667-8251. I think it's The Social Dilemma is the name of that show. My friend Mark, as I said, put it in his up on his post today. I think it's called Social Dilemma. But none of us expected to be the target of all these people that feel triggered, that feel offended, that feel maligned, we're the ones that are browbeaten. And I think I agree with people. It's got to be old, right? If you haven't adopted my philosophy yet, of you take vitriol, you take negative critique from people, you take just nastiness, and you take it as a vaccine. You let a little bit of that nastiness in, so tomorrow morning you wake up and go, I'm ready for a full dose of nasty. Why? Because I couldn't care less about what you think. If more of us had that ability to self-vaccinate, and now people are going to be going, oh, Brian's suggesting people self-vaccinate. Only when it comes to this idea. Check with your doctor, of course, for sure. But when it comes to the idea of letting in a little bit of the abuse, that's why I love it on Spitter. That's why I love it on Facebook. Not so much on LinkedIn, although I did have somebody block me the other day on LinkedIn, only because, Wayne, they were all over this 1619 project where they want to go ahead and make certain that the history of our country, or the date, the 1776, is replaced with 16. I keep saying 1916, and Ashley goes, no, it's 1619, Brian, 1619. Everyone wants to, not everyone, but they wanted to replace this 1619, and I go, that's just crazy. I'll stick with 1776. Thank you very much. So, Wayne, what do you say? Should we get ready to open the phone lines here before too long?
We certainly can.
All right, why don't we do that? I'm sure there's all kinds of people that are like, no, violence doesn't solve everything. Or just if you want to talk about your experience being gaslighted, we'd love to hear that as well. So, Wayne, why don't we go ahead and open the phones?
The phone lines are open. Now's your chance to mortal up and give Brian a shout, because your opinion deserves to be heard. Dial toll-free 1-833-MORTAL-1. That's 833-MORTAL-1.
You ever been a victim of gaslighting? Or you just want to refute my position that violence does solve things? Not calling for it. I'm just saying let's be truthful about it, and that human beings have every right. Forget about the Second Amendment. Forget about the Constitution. People go, well, if the Constitution didn't allow the Second Amendment, Constitution has nothing to do with your absolute ability, your absolute responsibility to defend yourself and your family. I don't need a constitution to tell me I got to be able to protect my wife and kids. I don't need the Bill of Rights. I don't need the Second Amendment. I don't need the government to give me anything in terms of guidance as to what I can do and can't do. Now, there's certain rules that you go, but I have to tell you, Wayne, I all the time end up in a debate because, and a good friend of mine, Bill, said once, well, if there weren't restrictions on ducks, you'd have hunters out there killing 100 ducks a day. And I go, well, I never really thought about that. I don't think we get morality because they're laws. I think we have that sense of morality because we have empathy. We have respect. We have concern for other people. And it's out of concern for other people. We don't need some politician running around with their little quill. A brawl that I got in today and I should learn, just don't go to Facebook, right? It's crazy. It rang on my watch and it told me, go to Facebook. Someone said, well, this election means everything in the world. No, it doesn't. This election doesn't mean squat, right? All the Republicans want this one to win. All the Democrats want that one to win. Well, there are going to be a whole host of us that are going to get up, and guess what, Wayne? The morning after the election, not like this election is, it'll be a month after the election before we know who the winner is. But the morning after the election, the morning after the month after the election, guess what? Our lungs are still going to work. Still going to have to get up and brush our teeth, right? Let's hope our hearing still works. So where everyone wants to buy in, everyone wants to put who they're voting for, doing this and doing that. God love you. You have the right to put up whatever you want, but I just don't get involved anymore where everything you say, someone has to throw it. Do you have a life outside of politics, or has it gotten so bad that your king gives you everything, right? That you can't get through life without putting a political a sign in your yard? And in your yard here, I mean on Facebook, like you put the name of any political candidate. I just don't get it. I don't understand it. Maybe it's just me. But for goodness sakes, for the rest of us in the middle of the road that are tired of being browbeaten by it, can you put up a post without someone going, well, Trump hates cats? Oh, really? I didn't know that. He hates cats, does he? Oh, I didn't know. A friend of mine sent me a picture today. Now, I don't know if this is true, Wayne. Maybe you can check for us. But I saw a picture today where, is it true that President Trump donated $500,000 apiece for each of the 2 sheriff's deputies that were shot in Compton? I know I got that somewhere. I don't think I'm making it up. Let me see. But, you could say, oh, well, with all the haul, with everything going up, this is tonight's low. With everything going up, let me see here, Wayne. It's got to be over here, and then maybe I go here. But I think here. Let me pull it up here. Here's this one. It says yes. Apparently, it was a tweet. Let me get my glasses. I don't want to lead anyone astray. And now it looks like it's from real Donald Trump. Looks like his picture, the American flag. Once the 2 ambushed officers are recovered enough, I will be visiting them and letting them know America loves them. I will also personally be donating each of the 2 officers $500,000 each to help with their expenses. It seems like a pretty cool thing if you ask me, right? So I guess you could get online and argue about that on Facebook, argue about that on Twitter. I would just say with all the haul, the Democrat, all you read in the paper is how much the Democratic Party has hauled in. Will they be matching his funds? Will they be going, yeah, you know what? We'll give the same to help these families of these officers, of these sheriff's deputies out. Will we be matching that? No, everyone will find some ulterior motive. And I don't care that he's Republican. I don't care that he's the president. Just another human being trying to help another human being out. If you get a chance, give us a call, 833-667-8251. That's 833-MORTAL and the numeral 1. Wayne, what else is going on? What's going on in the feed?
Not much. A lot of people are still having trouble finding us.
All right. Well, here's what, if you are listening, we will get back on top of the glitch, whatever that is, and we will make certain that we're back up on Brian Brawdy, or the Brian Brawdy Official, I guess is the Facebook title. We'll be over there for certain to be doing that. We'll be back tomorrow night, so we apologize. We'll figure out what it is that went wrong, and we'll make it happen.
By the way, what I did is I went ahead and I shared this video, this live feed from Avidly You to the Brian Brawdy Official page, so they can still see it.
Okay. Oh, great. Well, then everybody on Avidly You is getting a good, if they're watching on this and that. So hello to everybody on Avidly You. Thank you so very much for joining us this evening. The phone lines are now open, 833-667-8251. I'm getting a quick text. Thank you very much. You know, I feel good. It's not just a function. I don't even know what movie it was, Wayne, but the movie one time. Oh, I just don't feel good. I look good. I don't know what movie that was. I could be making it up for all I remember. But I will tell you, I feel great. I enjoy doing this. I enjoy drawing the line in the sand and going, look, I truly believe that if you were put here, there's a reason for it. And I don't want to get into Mortal Up yet. We'll be doing that here in a little bit. But if you were put here, there's a reason for it. And I've just decided later in life that I'm going to do my best to stand in the way of anyone standing in the way of you. And I think one of the ways that we can look to do that now is to make certain, absolutely certain, that we stop thinking about toxic masculinity just because some parrot is running around repeating the same sentence, repeating the same thing over and over and over and over. It's like listening to a speed bag in the gym. All right already. Everyone's busy calling you all kinds of names. You're a this, you're a that. Well, if you know you're not, what would it matter if I call you an Aquarius and you weren't born then? If I call you a Gemini and you have nothing to do with a birthday in the summer, would you let it in? You'd go, no, you're nuts. Wayne, when, general ballpark, when is your birthday?
Birthday is in July.
Okay, so what does that make you? What's the sign?
Cancer.
All right, so if I call you a Capricorn, you're going to get pissed off?
Oh, yeah, I'm going to come over and smack you across the side of the head.
Good, I welcome that. Please, just make sure you ring the special doorbell. I got a doorbell just for, it's the one on the top. Ring the special doorbell when you get here. No, you'll go, Brian, you're insane. I was born in July. I'm not a Capricorn, right? Well, it's the same thing when you're handling an incoming insult. Go, you know what? I think you're a few cards short of a full deck. That's not me. Don't let them browbeat you. Don't let them paint you into a corner. Someone, a call I was on today said, well, if your back's in the corner, I go, look, I got to tell you, right or wrong, my back was built for the corner. So people want to push you around. People want to push in the corner. All I'm simply suggesting is that when it comes to these lowlifes making headlines, when it comes to the gaslighting, when it comes to all these other things that are being done, you and I can just shake it off. What's the term? Like water off a duck's back. You can just shake it off. But thank you very much for the text. I feel good. I don't know about how good I look, but I absolutely feel good. And I'm enjoying what I'm doing. And I have to tell you, that makes all the difference in the world. This morning at 2 o'clock, I was up writing copy. Right? I was just like, I couldn't fall back to sleep. I had an idea that I wanted to build on that. And a part of that idea was this whole attack. Oh, well, there's toxic masculinity. No, there isn't. Maybe in some situations. Let me just say that. I'm always the one saying you shouldn't paint with a broad brush, right? I'm always the one advocating that not happen. So let me just say, in some cases, I'm sure there are people that are subject to believing that the best way to do it would be with this sense of being overly masculine. But true masculinity is jammed full of compassion. It's jammed full of understanding. It's jammed full of empathy. I can absolutely tell you that. So where everyone's saying, oh, we got to get rid of toxic masculinity. No, we don't. We need to get rid of toxic sensitivity. That's what's going to happen. And if you look at the polls, like Wayne said a little bit earlier, 80-some% say that America is on the ropes. I tend to think, like we said last evening, I tend to think it's a giant game. Remember Muhammad Ali? A giant game of rope-a-dope. I don't think we're doing as bad as everyone wants us to believe. I think we're just letting the other side punch it out. And before too long, right, it's time to stand up, push off the ropes, and go, all right, now the adults, right? Everyone, all the inmates, are you done? You done throwing your fists around? All right, great. Now it's our turn. Let's go ahead and get back to some sense of normalcy. But thank you again very much for the text. All right, 833-667-8251. If you get a chance, give us a holler. We're about 5 minutes away from lowlifes making headlines. It's ricocheting around in my head. We're about 5 minutes away from Mortal Up. And tonight, all we're doing.
You have a call.
Oh, let's take it then. Hello, who's this? Hello?
Brian,
Yes.
this is Candace. How are you?
Hi, Candace. I would recognize that beautiful accent anywhere. I'm doing great. Thank you very much. How are you?
Okay, I'm just thinking about all this, and this is how I grew up, and I'm sure you can relate to it. But when we were little kids running around playing, there was always the bully.
Right.
And they would pick on all the little kids, and it would be a continuous thing until somebody stood up and popped him in the nose and sent him home crying, and it put a stop to it.
Put a stop to it.
And that's just kind of how I feel about it.
And do you think that we can get to the point, Candace, that will happen today, where the bullies are busy running around, and then sooner or later, Candace and Brian are going to get up off the porch, we're going to get out of the rocking chair and go, we just wanted some peace and quiet. We just wanted to enjoy our life. But since you encroached our 6-foot bubble, since you stayed longer than 3 seconds, and it's still grating on me about that person walking up to that elderly couple, grabbing their beer and chugging it in Pittsburgh. Do you think there'll be a point where people like us just stand up and go, hey, that's about enough bullying. Here's something for you to think about. You think so?
Oh, yeah. If
Good.
I had been there, I would have definitely jumped in.
Well, let me ask you a question.
There would be
Do you think,
holding me
Candace,
back.
let me ask you this question. Do you think there are more bullies today, or that there's the same amount, we're just better off at reporting it? We're better off at reading about it. We're better off having it identified for us. Or do you think there really are more bullies today than, a few years ago when you and I were little?
No, I think there's always been.
Mm-hmm.
I think what's going on has gotten totally out of hand. They've made it to where the criminals have more, the looters and rioters and the arsonists and everything. They're making them untouchable, these governors. I mean, that's just how I feel about it. So I think people are afraid.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
To stand up, and we're going to take so much of it, and it'll stop.
It'll stop. So you think there will definitely be a tipping point. So we are kind of doing a rope-a-dope now, where you just let them keep punching, and when they punch themselves out, we'll stand up and go, okay,
everybody's just
go to your
watching
room
right now.
Sure.
That I truly believe that it'll get to the point where everybody's just had enough of it.
Very
Just
cool.
tired of
Well,
it,
I tend to agree with you, dear.
I mean,
I talk to so many people that are like, we are just fed up with it. The number of people that want, unfiltered news, the number of people that just want the truth. And as you said, whether there's governors or mayors, you get arrested for throwing a Molotov cocktail through a store window. Boy, you're a tough guy. You get arrested for throwing a Molotov cocktail, and your bail's $10 and you're out on the street an hour later.
Yeah.
Or the DA's deciding not to prosecute, right? So that's like
disgusting.
letting a bully get away with it so that the next time he or she walks up to the swing set, they're like, well, there's no penalty for being a bully, so let's just have at it.
Well, I don't know. Maybe we're composed different. I don't know, but I absolutely like the two elderly people eating. There's no way that I could have sit and watched that. I couldn't do it.
Agreed. I mean, well, you should know, Candace, I gave Wayne a hard time because he sent me that video, and I was like, do not send me that video. I don't have time today to get worked up, right? Just don't, Wayne, don't. What's he do? He sends me the video. And when I saw that person walk up and grab that woman's beer and just chug it right in front of her while the other one is screaming at the bullhorn, I was like, all right, there goes my afternoon. Right? It's just because there are people that and a friend of mine on Facebook put it in the feed that people get away with it because, wait for it, they get away with it. Like you said, Candace, the bully is the bully until you stand up, and then he or she runs away home crying about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And until someone stands up to the bully, I mean, you know, it's got to happen. I mean, is this stuff going to continue, you know?
I don't know how much longer it can, Candace, do you? How much longer do we all have it in ourselves to be browbeaten and barraged by all the negative in life? It's not like we died and went to hell. This is life, right? This is a good gig.
Right.
Odds, trillions to one that any person makes it here. This is a pretty sweet gig. And we have to be told that we're a list of all these different things and how systemic the problems are and how awful we are and how all these other things we are. Maybe some people are. I can tell you I had a post last week in Facebook that for the first time ever, I deleted it. I took it down because it was one of the most vile, vulgar things I think I've ever heard. And my critics were right to say, well, you should be standing up for the vile and vulgar. But this was so off base that I was like, yeah, no, that's not going to stand. So I guess at some point I could take a little bit of my own medicine. But what do you think of taking incoming vitriol? What if incoming slander, take it in little bits like a vaccine so that you get better every day at dealing with incoming insults? What do you think?
I don't put up with it.
I'm sorry.
I mean, I
say that again.
Totally don't.
You just don't put up with it at all. All right, good enough.
No, I don't. You know, I'll tell people I don't, like on Facebook, I do not get on your page. Don't get on mine and do it. Don't. If you do, then this is what's going to happen.
Well,
and
one of my favorite things, Candace, and then we got to run for the top of the hour. I'll tell you one of my favorite things. Somebody who you probably recognize, I'll never mention this person's name, but for years has been on the page just being opposite of everything I say. It's just the exact opposite. So finally, after all these years, this individual said something, I said something back. So then this individual calls me a name, threatens me, and then blocks me. So in the space of like 3 seconds, Candace, I couldn't even get back. I went to hit the quote, and it went to a blank page because this person went ahead, sent their sling and arrow, right? Sent their barb, sent their attack, sent their vitriol, and then blocked me before I could respond. So that it happens. I'm absolutely with you. And again, Candace, let me thank you. We're getting ready to head to the top of the hour.
That reminds me of like kindergarten or something.
Yeah. That's okay. Everything for a reason, right? I wish them nothing but the very best in life. All right, Candace, as I wish you nothing but the very best, thank you so very much for your call. We'll look forward to hearing from you again very soon. Thank you very much, Candace. All right. All right. Wayne will say, I'm sure Wayne's probably already said hello. All right, so Wayne, let's get ready. Let me check the time here real quick. We've got 5 minutes left. Why don't we go ahead? We'll queue up. Well, we're already there. If you just want to throw up the Mortal Up logo, we'll talk about it very quickly. But we've kind of alluded to it throughout the evening. I call it progressive adaptation for your self-esteem, right? When we talk about Mortal Up, and I've had people say, oh, is that a video game? Oh, is that like Mortal Kombat? Not particularly. Mortal Up is really just remembering who you ultimately are. You weren't born with perforated skin. You weren't born with a weak spine. You weren't born with oversensitive ears so that you have to hear everything and take offense to everything. That's not you. Now, maybe you've learned that, but if you pride the opinion of another more it's more important to you than your own opinion of yourself, that's the time to take the vitriol vaccine. That's the time to start letting a little bit of it in. Don't block people on Facebook. Don't call people names. Don't flip them off. Don't do all these other things. Let a little bit of it in. And I used to think of it as like a catcher's mitt. I just catch the ball. I let the ball in. Doesn't mean I hold the ball forever. I drop it if I don't like it. Maybe there's some little nugget. Maybe if someone calls you something, you could go, I should look at that. Is that true? Nah, that's just nuts. That's bananas. And then you get to the point where you go, I don't think I'll listen to that anymore. And then you wish them the very best. And then they're on their way. But Mortal Up for me has always been an appreciation of who you already are. I think it was Eric. Who was it? No. Sandberg, the poet, said, hope, it's like an echo. It bids you yonder, yonder, yonder. And I think Carl was right. People always talk about, I set goals, or I have a hope for the future. And what I'm busy focusing on is the you that's you right now. There's nothing, everything you've ever needed, you've always had. And you may have forgotten that. And with people berating you, with people browbeating you, with people accusing you, with people gaslighting you, with all these people that line up with all the different reasons that you should feel like a crappy human being, I say don't drink the Kool-Aid. I say don't buy into it because you know it's just not you. You know it's not the truth. Yeah, you don't have the nose of an elephant, and I, as best I can tell, I don't think you have overly electronic purple hair. Maybe you do. I don't know. But you get my point. So the essence of Mortal Up is just remember who you ultimately are. And when the asshats come and they have all their different things that they think that all the reasons that you're a horrible human being, just thank them for their critique. As I said, I end it all with have a nice day. Every time I get a barb like that, have a nice day. With the exception of that one that we talked about with Candace. So for Mortal Up this evening, let a little bit of the vitriol in. Let a little bit of the attack in. Only so long as you can say, does that feel right? Does it feel wrong? Is that person right? Are they way off base? Yeah, they're way off base. They're nuts. I'm not going to let them ruin my day. So that's our Mortal Up for this evening. And I'm getting a tweet from someone else. What do you think about Anthony Fauci? What do you think about his claim that masks are more important? Well, you know what? Maybe we'll save that. Maybe we'll save that for tomorrow night since we only have 2 minutes and we can talk about masks all night long. So why don't we save that for tomorrow night? And Wayne, can you go ahead and throw the address up one more time for the poll? Don't forget, get into the poll. Wayne, what is tonight's poll? We'll announce the winner tomorrow night. Head on over to mortalup.com. Wayne, what is tonight's poll? All right. Well, let me see. Have you been a victim of gaslighting? Do you know about gaslighting? Do you have a personal experience with someone trying to maneuver your mind in such a way that they get what you want and you get stuck with the bag at the end? So do you have a personal experience of gaslighting? And do you think it's taken over the place? Do you think more people gaslight than less people gaslight? That's our poll. You can head up over to mortalup.com. And we haven't had a chance to talk about this evening, but we had a really great call this morning. Pretty soon, you'll be able to get our information on Siri and Alexa and all those other places. But for now, let me thank everyone, especially all those that went through the gymnastics of the recording glitch. Thank you so very much for that. Everyone that was listening on Twitter and YouTube and Facebook, all the people that were listening at mortalup.com, thank you so very much for all of your support. Also, the different people that have signed up over the last week at mortalup.com, even just, like the page and everything else, it just makes it easier for us to get the notification out to you that we're ready to do another Brian Brawdy show. All right, Wayne, let's go ahead and get out of here. Oh, look at that. I moved around in my seat enough where I got my 6,000 steps in today. Well, lucky me. All right, we will see you tomorrow night. Thank you all again so very much. Have an absolutely fantastic evening and a great day tomorrow until I see you.
Thanks for listening to The Brian Brawdy Show. Until next time, get out there and mortal up.